Welcome to another Green Sheep with the Family video. Today we're talking about making a greenhouse out of an old carport. I purchased this one here to do DJ work with, so I could cover my DJ booth, and just in case it rained I would have equipment that was dry and all of my cabling would be in buckets so that nothing would get electrocuted. In these tubs here I put all of my tarps and then the connector pieces. Then I store the poles back here. Made a handy dandy little bungee apparatus with some crossed boards that fit together like two Vulcan hands. It's just been sitting. And the other day my buddy was talking about turning a carport into a greenhouse himself and how he had bought some greenhouse sheeting. So we're going to go out to the farm and discuss a little further on some of the ideas here and look at a greenhouse that was actually purchased, how that goes together. So this here is Natalia's greenhouse. The structure here is galvanized steel and it was put together in a way that's structurally sound with some cross members that you can see off in the background that kind of connect with some C-clamps. Inside of here, to mount this wood on, is just a simple C-clamp that has a couple little bracket off pieces of holes, so it's just essentially a bent piece of steel. And those go around the poles and then bolt onto this cedar wood right here, which is rot resistant since the sheeting deteriorates very quickly with pressure treated, chemically treated wood. So this is just the same thing you can do with a carport. You build it out and then mount your boards right at about the point of the curve. This here is called wiggle wire, and it's just a little C-clamp type channel that runs along here and will accept 2 layers of wiggle wire, so that, for instance, you can cover with a shade cloth as well, running your plastic in first and then putting the shade cloth inside of another layer of wiggle wire, at which point you've got 2 pieces of material secured. And she has 2 pieces of plastic sheeting that go over the top just to help with any holes, because the sheeting she is using here is recycled from another operation where they're buying fresh sheeting on a somewhat regular basis. So when they are finished using theirs, Natalia then takes her pieces over here and covers and then uses those until the end date of function. So I think at the bottom, one of the most difficult things to do would be running something that's going to keep some of the animals out, and you can run some cheap wood along there or just something more sturdy to keep the critters from clawing through your plastic and getting in and ruining your structure and your harvest. So we'll take another look at the other side and check out what's going on there in just a moment. Somehow you will want to frame a door in, and again you can use more of those C-clamps to mount some framing structure onto so that you don't have to drill any holes through your precious steel tubing. Or if you're using galvanized somehow, I'm sure you could come up with some fence structure that you could make to shear your arches and then run across. Usually probably buying in the kit is a little bit cheaper than just going out and buying each individual piece though. So here, today we just took off the top of the tarps, rolled it up under itself to store along the length of this from one side, and then should we need to cover it once the frost happens, it's an easy up and over. And I'm going to video that in the future once we hit frost and show the process that we go through to get that cover back over and settled nice and neat. It was quite a process getting this massive sheeting over. It only took about a half an hour, I'd say, but just to get it all set and done right. So up here you can see a channel of the wiggle wire where you can set this all the way over the top. So here you can see these C-like clamps that fasten the boards to the poles without having to be invasive. And this one, of course, being a permanent structure designed specifically for this, it's of course easier to decide when you want to put screws and holes through them to mount these together. Little U-shaped brackets to join your cedar posts together there, and then a cross member which you see right here. And something like that can be easily added to any carport structure if you wanted a little more stability. And then of course I recommend If you can see down at the base, let me move this down, there is another structure with a board down at the bottom, and then the heavier duty tarping there. So taking a look around here, you can see some of the inside members, and of course you can buy these kits, but if you have an existing carport or you can find one on a free cycle or Craigslist free listing, then that would be a great money saver and an easy way to get started on a smaller scale. I would estimate this one to be 15 by 30 foot, just as a rough guesstimate. So thank you for joining me today. This is Green Sheep of the Family signing out. Hope all your fall projects go well and get your project started now.